Do it directly from the Oracle website, so you can type 8U92. You can go to this URL. Yeah, I am in that URL, which 8U. You can search for Control F8, U92. U92, 192 or 92. 92. Only 92. So there you will find the JDK. Download the JDK, not the JRE. So this version. So whatever, if you have 64-bit machine, then you can use this, otherwise you can use the other one. Yeah, I downloaded it. You can uninstall the older one and you can install this and then try to set the environment variables. Okay, great, so let's start with today's session. So let's start with today's session. So today's session is about the data model. Okay, so for each and every application, right, the data model is the core. Correct data model is the core of the application and we call it as backend. Okay, we can also call it as database. So what it will? Data model will contain. It will contain the tables, which will have the columns, and these tables and columns will contain the data. Right. So these columns and tables are interrelated to each other, based on 4 main methodologies. One is a foreign key. So you might already know the foreign key relationship, right? It's similar in here also. Second is so yesterday we have discussed about the right. So if one table is having one-to-many relationship with another table, then we say that it is an air-cad relationship. Third one is the type key. I will tell you what type keys. And fourth one is subtypes. Okay, so subtypes are nothing but the parent and the children relationship. Suppose there is a parent entity and we are creating a children entity on top of it. So the relation between these two parent and children entity is said to be subtypes, right? So what is type key? So we have talked yesterday about the entities. Right entities will be having the extension as ETI and ETS. Similarly, like entities, we have a different kind of files, file structure. In Guidewire, we name it as type list. Okay, so what this type list will contain? So what entities contain? Entities will contain the columns, right, and inside those columns it will have the data. Similarly, type list contains the list of data. Suppose. I will give you one example. If you click, there is a field name country. Sorry, there is a field name country. Okay, fine, so I want that. Imagine a field on the screen named country. Okay, so when you want to input the country, right, so you will have. You don't do it manually. You don't type the name of India manually, right? You just click on a drop-down. There would be a drop-down button. You will click on that. Countries would appear right, where you can select which country you are in, correct? That's how you input the value for that particular field country. So this data which is appearing on the UI right, this must be stored somewhere already, right? This is pre-stored data. User is not entering all those countries, right, these are already. This data is already stored with the base application. Means, user has an option to select from these many options. Right, so we have some predefined data already defined. So all those drop-down values are defined in the type list. Got it. So it's kind of like US states, which are fixed values. Yes, so all these are defined in the type list. So type list will be having extension as T and TTX. Okay, so I'll tell you where T and TTX will be used and where X and X will be used. But before that, I want to show you how my type list looks like. Okay, so it will also be there in the extensions only and in type list. You can see, I have multiple type lists here. So let's say, suppose I'll open currency type list. So it is. You can see it is having all the data of the currency already, USD, Euro, GBP, CAD, AUD. Right. This is predefined data, which we have already defined in the system. We can utilize this type list right in multiple entities if we want. Suppose, if we want to refer this type list in any of our entities, right, suppose there is an entity bank account which will contain all the bank account details. Okay. Bank account ETS, which will contain all the bank account details, like name, okay. And what is the difference between ETI and ETS? I will go into that as well. So bank account, suppose. Say we have a column name, account number. So these are the columns in the bank account entity. Okay, then we can have IFSC code also. Okay, so these are the details. Now let's say there is an option of the country. Okay, so which bank? Which country the bank resides in. So this is the column country, column. So we want to refer this country column from this drop-down. Okay, which is defined in the type list. So you can observe from here, right, this is a type of string. Account name is a type of string, right, so we can have a varchar field for this. This is a type of string. Account number is also a type of string, right, so we can have a text or varchar type of field. This is also can be mentioned as a string. But what about country? Country is not something which user is putting manually. It is something which user is selecting from the drop-down, so it has to be defined as a type key input in that okay. So let's suppose take an example like bank account, we will go to the bank account entity, bank account. Okay. So you can see there is a type key here, account type okay, which will have all the different account types in the type list. So I'll search for the bank account type list so user can select the type of the bank account from the drop-down checking, saving, and other. These are the three values. Got it, okay. So how this type list is referred in this entity as a type key. So that's why I mentioned here right, so there is a type key relationship also between the and subtype relationship. We already know, we have already discussed. Now comes what is ETI and ETS, and it's very important to understand the difference between them. Okay, and I think you will not find this information from the PPTs also, which I'm going to show you. This information is something which comes with the experience. It's not in PPTs as well, so where we use ETI,